Hello everyone, welcome back to the OncoBuddy podcast by 4Base Care. Today, we are here to delve into a topic that touches many lives profoundly: denial to acceptance, emotions during cancer. Joining me is Jaitri, a senior psycho-oncologist at 4Base Care. Welcome, Jaitri.
Thank you for having me, Gayatri. It's a pleasure to be here.
A cancer diagnosis is often described as a life-altering event, shaking the very core of an individual's existence. It not only impacts the patient but also their loved ones who step up as caregivers. Imagine the moment when someone hears those daunting words, "You have cancer," from their doctor. What flood of emotions might overwhelm them at that instant?
Being told you have cancer can feel like the ground beneath you has shifted. It's an intensely personal experience, yet many people undergo similar emotional upheavals. The initial reaction can include shock, fear, anger, sadness, or even a sense of disbelief. However, the first step they face is often denial.
Denial seems to be a common response, like refusing to accept the reality of the situation.
Absolutely. Denial, a natural defense mechanism, kicks in to help you process the overwhelming news. You might hear yourself saying things like, "This can't be happening," "There must be a mistake," or "The doctor mixed up the results," or "Why me?" or "Why is it happening to me?" or "Am I going to die soon?" Denial allows you to create a buffer between yourself and the harsh reality, giving you some space to breathe. But it's important to remember that denial is just one stage in a complex emotional journey. The DABDA model, which stands for Denial, Anger, Bargaining, Depression, and Acceptance, can be a helpful framework to understand this process. While people don't necessarily follow these stages in a linear order, they may experience elements of each throughout their journey. We will explore each of the stages in more detail throughout the episode to give you a better understanding of the emotional roller coaster that can follow a cancer diagnosis.
So, what you're saying is that it's a way to protect themselves emotionally in the initial shock.
Exactly, Gayatri. Denial is not about pretending everything is fine. It's a temporary coping mechanism that allows them to absorb the information gradually. Here's where caregivers play a crucial role. As a caregiver, acknowledge their feelings. Let them know it's okay to feel overwhelmed and confused. Phrases like, "This must be a lot to process," or "I understand why you might feel this way," can be validating. Avoid harsh truths. Don't bombard them with too much information at once. Respect their emotional state and offer reliable information from qualified doctors when they seem receptive.
Those suggestions will be really helpful for the caregivers. Now, Jaitri, after denial, what comes next?
Anger. As the initial shock subsides, reality sets in, and anger often takes hold. You might be angry at yourself for missing symptoms, angry at the doctor for delivering the news, angry at the world for seeming unfair, or even angry at a higher power. This anger is a natural response to the situation, a flight or fight reaction to a perceived threat. It's important to validate this anger. Let them know it's perfectly normal to feel this way. Suppressing anger can lead to resentment and unhealthy coping mechanisms.
But how can someone productively deal with that anger?
Finding healthy outlets for anger is the key. Here are some strategies. Physical activity, exercise like walking, running, or swimming can be a great way to release pent-up emotions. Journaling, writing down your frustrations and fears, can be a cathartic experience. Creative expression, activities like painting, music, or dance can be a safe space to channel anger. Therapy, talking to a psychologist or a therapist can provide a safe space to process anger and develop healthy coping mechanisms. Remember, anger is a normal emotion, but it's important to express it constructively. Talking it out with a trusted friend, family member, or psychologist can be very helpful.
Those are all fantastic suggestions, Jaitri.
Absolutely, Gayatri. By acknowledging and addressing anger in a healthy way, you can prevent it from building up and leading to resentment or unhealthy behaviors.
We've discussed the initial shock and denial that often follow a cancer diagnosis. But, Jaitri, a cancer diagnosis can also lead to a lot of fear and anxiety. How can patients manage these feelings?
Yes, fear and anxiety are very common reactions. The unknown can be incredibly frightening. Here are some ways to manage that fear and anxiety. Education is empowering. Learning about your specific cancer diagnosis and treatment options can help you feel more in control. Focus on what you can control. While you can't control the diagnosis, you can control your lifestyle choices: healthy eating, exercise, and getting enough sleep. Relaxation techniques. Techniques like deep breathing, meditation, and yoga can help calm the mind and body. Support groups. Connecting with others who understand what you are going through can be incredibly helpful.
Thank you for that insightful explanation, Jaitri. Now, let's delve into the next stage of the DABDA model, bargaining.
The initial shock may subside, but a new emotion takes hold: bargaining. You might find yourself pleading with a higher power, fate, or even the universe. Promises like, if I can just eat healthy and exercise every day, be a better person with more religious practices, then maybe the cancer will go away, become common. These promises are a way for the person to feel like they have some influence over the situation, even though they may not. It's important to remember that bargaining is a normal part of the grieving process, but it's not always helpful. This bargaining is a way that a patient is trying to regain some control in a situation that feels overwhelming.
Bargaining, almost like a desperate attempt to change the reality.
Exactly, Gayatri. It's a way of coping with the immense fear and uncertainty. Caregivers play a crucial role here. What a caregiver requires here is patience and active listening. Acknowledge their feelings and let them express their anxieties. Don't dismiss their bargaining as irrational. Focus on controllable aspects. Gently remind them that while they can't control the diagnosis, they can focus on managing their health through treatment plans and healthy habits. This empowers them to take an active role in their recovery. Seek professional help. If bargaining becomes obsessive or hinders their ability to move forward with treatment, encourage them to seek professional help from a therapist or a psychologist. As the reality of the diagnosis sinks in, feelings of depression may set in. This can manifest as sadness, loss of interest in activities you once enjoyed, fatigue, changes in appetite or sleep patterns, and feeling of hopelessness. It's very important to distinguish between normal sadness and clinical depression. Depression is a common experience after a cancer diagnosis.
And how can someone tell the difference?
While sadness is temporary and lessens over time, clinical depression can be persistent and significantly impact daily life. If feelings of hopelessness, worthlessness, or thoughts of suicide persist, seeking professional help is essential.
How can caregivers support someone experiencing depression?
Encourage open communication. Create a safe space for them to express their feelings without any judgment. Offer practical assistance. Help with daily tasks, errands, or transportation to appointments can alleviate some burden. Encourage professional help. If depression is severe, gently encourage them to seek therapy or medication from a mental health professional.
So far, we have seen the 4 stages in the DABDA model. What is the 5th one?
It is acceptance.
So, is acceptance the final stage?
The DABDA model is a framework, not a rigid timeline. People may revisit these stages or experience them with varying intensities. Acceptance is an ongoing process, not a destination.
Is there any one point in this journey where individuals find acceptance?
They will, but it takes time. First, let me tell you that acceptance doesn't mean giving up hope or pretending everything is okay. It's about acknowledging the reality of the situation and finding a way to move forward with courage and strength. Imagine acceptance as a destination, but the road there can be winding. It's completely normal to feel stuck, to revisit earlier stages like anger or denial, and to oscillate between emotions. This back and forth is often referred to as DABDA pendulum, referencing the stages of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance.
So, if they accept everything, the problem is solved, right?
Yes, you are right. However, acceptance doesn't come easily in a day.
I can understand that, but why is acceptance so difficult?
There are many reasons why accepting a cancer diagnosis can be incredibly challenging. I can say there are multiple objective factors. The diagnosis itself can be overwhelming, loaded with medical jargons and complex treatment plans. Fear of the unknown. The uncertainty of treatment, potential side effects, and the future can be paralyzing. loss of control, cancer disturbs your sense of security and control over your life. Remember, acceptance takes time. It's not a decision you make overnight. There is no set timeline and everyone grieves differently. Your psychologist and caregiver understand this. It's okay to feel overwhelmed and it's okay to take things at your own pace. Caregivers also play a crucial role in this process. While accepting the diagnosis themselves might be easier, understanding the patient's journey is key. Sometimes patients need to hear, it's okay not to be okay right now.
That's a message of hope amidst adversity, Jaitri. What happens after the acceptance? A new normal? What does that look like?
Acceptance is more of an ongoing process of integrating the diagnosis into your life and establishing a new normal. It can involve lifestyle changes related to diet and exercise, emotional adjustments as you come to terms with the diagnosis, and ongoing medical care through checkups and potentially maintenance medications.
And there can be challenges even after the treatment.
Absolutely. Physical side effects from treatment, emotional struggles like anxiety or fear of recurrence, and even financial difficulties can arise. Having a strong support system and staying connected with your healthcare team is crucial during this time.
But there's also hope, right?
Absolutely. Living with cancer can be a catalyst for potential growth. Individuals may develop a deeper appreciation for life, strengthen their relationships with loved ones, and discover a newfound resilience they never knew they possessed.
Living with hope. That's a powerful message.
Indeed, Gayatri. A cancer diagnosis doesn't have to define your life. With proper care, support, and a positive mindset, individuals can continue to live fulfilling lives and find joy in everyday moments.
So, we've discussed the emotional journey of accepting a cancer diagnosis. There can be a lot of complex dynamics at play, especially within families. I want to talk about a situation where a loved one might hide the diagnosis from the patient themselves. Can you elaborate on why someone might do this and the potential consequences?
Sure, Gayatri. It's true that sometimes caregivers may consider withholding a cancer diagnosis from the patient, often with good intentions. They might fear overwhelming the patient, especially if they are already frail or dealing with other health concerns.
Right, they might think they are protecting them.
Exactly. They might say things like, they would not be able to handle it, or let's wait until they get stronger. However, withholding this information can have negative consequences. For example, imagine a situation where an elderly husband forgets to take his medication and his wife, who has been hiding his cancer diagnosis, does not remind him. This could lead to complications or missed treatment opportunities. It can also erode trust between the patient and their loved ones.
That's a very important point. Secrecy can backfire.
You are right, Gayatri. Keeping secrets can cause more problems down the line. Also, research shows that more than half, around 54.1% of the cancer patients in India, did not know that they had cancer. This was more common among women, people with less education, those with unskilled jobs, lower income. The patients who were aware about their diagnosis reported feeling more anxious and depressed compared to those who were unaware about their diagnosis. The way they perceived their illness also had a big impact on their psychological distress, even when other factors were taken into account. Understanding their illness better helped to explain why they felt anxious. Remember that emotional response to a cancer diagnosis can vary widely among individuals and is influenced by various factors such as personality traits, coping mechanisms, and support system. Research says that some individuals may experience intense emotional distress immediately following a cancer diagnosis. Others may exhibit resilience and adaptive coping strategies.
So, when is the right time to open up about a cancer diagnosis?
There is no one-size-fits-all answer. It depends on the individual's physical and emotional strength, their age, and their relationship with the diagnosis. Here are some factors to consider. The patient's cognitive abilities. Can they understand the information and participate in treatment decisions? Their emotional state. Are they currently going through a stressful time? Their support system. Do they have a strong network of loved ones who can provide emotional support?
So basically, it's about finding the right balance.
Exactly. An honest conversation with the patient's doctor and psychologist can help caregivers navigate these decisions. Your oncologist and psychologist can assess the patient's ability to understand the diagnosis and offer guidance on how to communicate it effectively.
And what if the patient is resistant to the diagnosis or in denial?
It's important to be patient and understanding. Denial is a natural coping mechanism. You can offer them resources and support groups to help them process the information. Let them know you are there for them every step of the way.
Communication is the key throughout the journey.
Yes, Gayatri. Open and honest communication between patients, caregivers, and healthcare professionals is vital for a successful treatment journey and emotional well-being.
One final question to ask you, Jaitri. Are there any resources available for individuals who are navigating this journey, as well as for the caregivers seeking guidance?
Certainly, organizations like the American Cancer Society and the National Cancer Institute offer a plethora of information and support services. Additionally, Forbes Care provides a dedicated team of professionals and resources through OncoBuddy app.
Thank you, Jaitri, for sharing your expertise with us in today's OncoBuddy podcast, Denial to Acceptance, Emotions During Cancer. Thank you for your invaluable insights and guidance.
It's been my pleasure, Gayatri.
Thank you to all our listeners for joining us today. We'll be back very soon with another brand new episode focusing on practical suggestions and support for navigating overall well-being during the cancer treatment.
For our listeners facing a cancer diagnosis, remember, you have a powerful community behind you. There are resources and support system available to help you. Seek support, prioritize self-care, and cherish every moment. For more updates on cancer research, treatment options, and emotional well-being, stay connected with us at OncoBuddy Podcast and subscribe to our OncoBuddy channel.
Until next time, take care and stay healthy. Together, we beat cancer.